Right into the stretch, looking back and throws up the middle. Rose is on his way around. Picked up by Otis.
Here comes the ready or not. Here comes the boys from the south. Here comes the ready or not. How you like me now? I say, here comes the ready or not. Here comes the boys from the south. Here comes the ready or not. How you like me now?
You don't live in Cleveland, you live in Cincinnati.
You are watching live to the best damn Cincinnati sports podcast this side of Folsom, California. My name is Santori Miles. We got Cincy James. We got Big Savage Greg. Bengal Dad is sick, I think. I don't know what's going on. It's just taking a vacation from the show, I swear. How we doing? How we doing?
I'm doing excellent now. Finally feeling better. The Bengals got the dub. Greg, how about you?
Hey, 6 or 9, we're doing good.
6 or 9, we're doing fine.
Yep, that's what it is, yeah.
369. Damn, she fine.
Ooh. I dropped my lid. Oh, well. I'll get it later. But, yeah, man, we got a big win on Saturday.
Also, you two, check your phones really quick. Just, I had to say something, but I don't want to say it on air.
Oh, yeah, you're good.
Sorry for everybody else. But, yes,
You're good.
now that's over.
Big win on Saturday. We got to watch football on Sunday and just root for people to lose. Like, that was cool. It didn't really happen a whole lot Sunday, but
No, we
Got
got a little bit shafted Sunday, but
I got to tell you something so shocking that even you will find shocking.
I doubt it.
Your seatmate Bengals in Bourbon was the most chilled out person I've ever seen Saturday. He's
there's-
like, we'll be fine. We'll be fine. And I'm
There's a
like,
reason for that, but
well,
we
there's
don't
no.
go into it.
I'm just saying. Because like that one time I moved my seats the second half and we were scoring, I thought he was going to choke me to death or something, say, get back in your seat. But Matt, though, was chilled out, and he's like, Greg, we'll be fine. I'm like, wow.
Matt
So
and
I'm
Gary
gonna-
up and down.
No, he was chilled. He was chilled for the whole game.
And not talking Matt Walker, not talking Matt in the chat.
No, just yeah.
Oh, it's hilarious that he was so chill.
No, he was chill. That's all I'm going to say. He was chill and all that and stuff, man. He kept me
Feel like
going.
Woody Nelson, man. Gotta love it.
Right?
Or Woody Harrelson or whatever, but yeah.
Woody Harrelson. Okay.
Close. There he is.
What? Go back to bed. What are you doing?
Get to bed, Dan.
Whoever that
What's the
is.
business, bruv?
What's the business, bruv?
That's right. That's right. Well, let's go ahead and let's just dive right into it. Greg, are you ready?
Let's do. Hey, I'm ready for this. Let's do this.
You ready to read?
Oh yeah. You guys thought you had me, but I'm all prepared this time.
All right. So the Vikings versus Bengals recap brought to you by Midwest Best Barbecue.
Are you looking for great food, great atmosphere, and even better people? Well, look no further than Midwest Best Barbecue and Creamery. Head on down to 669 Justice Court in Loveland to chow down on the wings, barbecue, mac and cheese sandwiches, ice cream, and so much more. They even offer catering services too. And to top things off, the owner's 10-minute cool worship are monster Bengals fans. Don't wait. Go to www.midwestbestbarbecue.com to get your carry-out or delivery order placed, or go to dine in to enjoy the sights and smells of Midwest Best Barbecue and Creamery, which is open Wednesday through Saturday, 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. and Sunday, 12 p.m. to 7 p.m.
Did you get kicked in the nuts while you were?
No, hey.
I have a couple questions. One, what accent is that supposed to be?
Dude, I just wing it, man. You know what, man? We've been 3-0 since I've been talking this way at times. I don't question the football gods. If I have to get kicked in the nuts, then so be it. We're 3. Cap is wearing his sandals. We all have to play a role in something here. This is what I'm doing. Yeah?
So it's just the only reason I ask is like half of it has the accent, and then you'll get to www.midwestbest, and it's like what?
Well, I didn't pick anything. I'm not good like you are, Santori.
Some of it's got whatever accent that is. Some of it's straightforward. It's a little in and out. I love it, but it's this is Doubtfire, sure.
Santori, like one time I was talking Italian, Irish. I got to go to Kieran to take a lessons or something.
Italian. Don't come at me.
He's going to be like, teach me the business, bro.
Should I contact Shoni Antoni?
Yeah, Shoni Antoni for the Italian. James, were you a part of that? Did you ever get let in on that joke?
Is that Shohei Ohtani?
Yeah, we're driving to the Bengal game 2 weeks ago, whatever it was. That's the Colts game. And it's Greg's in the back seat, or no, Greg's in the front seat.
Yeah.
Kieran's in the back. We're driving down Queen City Avenue, heading down to Dad, you can stay home, Dad. But we're driving down Queen City Avenue, and I called Dad to tell him we're on the way. It's probably not 8:30 in the morning, whatever it is. And Greg's always just wanting Dad's opinion. And he goes, Bengal Dad, what do you think of Shoni Antoni's contract? And before I could even get it out and just correct Greg, Kieran from the back seat goes, yes, Shoni Antoni, my favorite Italian baseball player.
Because I can never pronounce it right.
Is this it?
No, dude, I don't know what it is. It was Rocco. I was trying to copy off of Rocco. That's who I was trying to copy off of, and I can't speak Australian that well.
Rocco's Modern Life?
Rocco's Modern Life, mate. Maybe I'll try that next time, but hey, it's working. That's all that matters. We call it the Luther, what do we call it? The Luther accent.
It's Lutherese.
Lutherese. There we go. That's perfect. Let's just stick with that.
All right. So let's jump into this game here. Another day, another weird win.
Yep.
I'll take it.
I don't think even the most positive Bengals fans, when Burrow's wrist decided to eat shit on national television, thought, we'll win 3 of the next 4.
We're in fine shape.
Right. But man, they just keep finding a way. They've put up, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe Dad'll correct me if I'm wrong, because I can't do addition. I can't do simple addition. But if you need me to do 12% of $350, I'll get it right on the dot. But what is it? So it's 27, 31, and 34. So that's 65, 27, 85 plus 7, 92. 92 points in 3 games, just a tick over 91 a game. 91 and a third. 31 and a third points per game. That'll get the job done just about every single week.
Mm-hmm.
I wrote it down.
What?
How many points per game we got the last 3 games? What did you say?
It should be 31 and a third.
31.6. Close enough.
Okay, whatever. Oh, okay. That's right. I carried it wrong again.
Well, no, when I was doing the math,
I can't add.
How dare you?
I was thinking about you when I was doing all this math in my head. I'm like, man, where's Santori calculator when I need them?
You want long division percentages, quadratic formula? I got it. But if you need 8 plus 8, I'm gonna get a calculator. I'll struggle. I skipped the first grade, I guess. I don't really know what happened there.
Yep.
But no, let's jump into this Vikings game really quick. You got to give it to him, and this has kind of been the hallmark of a Zach Taylor team since he's got here. Mm-hmm. They don't quit. They keep grinding. It doesn't matter who's out there, who gets hurt, what happens in the middle of the game. It has been rare, and I thought they packed it in around the second half of that Pittsburgh game 4 weeks ago. I thought there were signs of them kind of waving the flag.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they were just getting beat bad, but there's very few times I can honestly think that I think one of Zach's teams has quit, and this team just continues to not do that. They just fight and push through. Doesn't matter who's at quarterback, how many players get carted off in the middle of the game. The fact that you're down 14 points, haven't scored a damn thing all game in the fourth quarter with a backup quarterback in December against a playoff team, probably, maybe.
Solid defense.
I mean, what was the stat? The Vikings hadn't given up a touchdown 165 minutes of football.
Really?
Something
Yeah,
like that.
it's like 3 games worth. It ends up coming out to like 7 or 8. Or it ends up coming out to like 11 quarters.
Yep.
You're
And
kidding.
then
They
we
wiped
rattle
the
off. And then we rattle off 3 touchdowns in like 12 minutes or something stupid. That's when they click, man. But kudos to, and we'll dive more into Jake's numbers, but kudos to Mixon, who the last 3 games or so he's not a great back, but he's playing at a not bad level. It's somewhere around average, maybe a little above average with some of the receiving attributes he's putting up. They're finally letting Chase Brown have a shot. Granted, he's been hurt, so I'm not trying to hold that against the staff, but you're seeing why they took Chase Brown, and I've got a new comp for him when we get to him. T's had some drops, but he's had some huge plays mixed in there. In both 2 weeks ago and this one. Tanner Hudson is becoming Mr. Consistent on the offense, 3 to 5 catches a game, whether he wants to or not. Boyd is starting to show up again. The offensive line is clicking, and we'll dive into that. The defense, I've got some thoughts there, but they're getting better. And I think it's never a good thing when someone goes down, but I think there might be some blessing in disguise things for Reeder going down like there was when Burrow went down, and I'll get into that later. But they're not quitting, man. They're putting up an awful lot of points against some darn good teams. Take away the first start for Jake Browning's career against the rain against Pittsburgh and against that defense.
Division game, right?
Yeah, I mean, and they lost by 6, and I remember saying that, and I'm like, that feels like such a loser's way of looking at. Oh, they only lost by 6, but,
right?
I thought the first half Jake looked good, and I remember texting Dad, and I put this on the show last week. It was like in the middle of the first quarter, early second quarter. I was like, I think they're close on offense. I don't think they scored another point the rest of the game when I said that, but I genuinely thought they were close, and bang, 90 points in the next 3 weeks.
Right.
But man, if this doesn't show, because there's a lot of people, and I was one of them that used to say, I don't know how much of this is Zach as much as it is Joe. I don't know how much of it is Brady as Belichick kind of thing. I think this is proving that Zach definitely has a fair share in the success of this entire organization.
Yeah, I would completely agree with that. And like you talked about, it's unfair to say the usage of Chase Brown, they should have been using him earlier. Well, they kind of couldn't for a while. Then they had to ease him back in. And now that they are, I mean, Mixon, I believe, had 13 touches and Chase Brown had 10.
There still needs to be more touches for the running backs. And granted, I know when you get down 14 but they weren't down 14 until like the third quarter. It was like a 3 or 4 point game, almost the entirety of the game. So you did get some Zach Taylor tendency of kind of leaning away toward the run, but at the same time, they were also going like 3 and out the whole time. So that's hard to do. Maybe not 3 and out, but they weren't really putting drives together. And when, as much as we want to go, oh my God, look at, there was only 23 touches for the running backs, right? Well, it's 23 touches, not 23 carries. That includes the pass game. I mean, they went 5 quarters and maybe ran 60 plays. There weren't many opportunities. When you don't have that many drives, it's hard to get a ton of touches, Yeah,
I think that the total number was 70 plays. That's what it ended up being, Not a ton.
No, but because Jake Browning threw 42 passes, which is a good amount, but it's not an inordinate amount. It's on the higher end, but nothing crazy.
Right.
But, I mean, they still had 15 carries. I would have liked it to have been much closer to 35-25 as opposed to 42-20. But, like, when you look at the Colts game, and I'm going to keep referencing the Colts game because we haven't really been able, between your sickness, Dad's sickness, everything going on in my life with work and the holidays, we've kind of been piecemealing the show together for about a month. But they've been running the ball a lot more, and that's a key to success here. But Mixon's getting some touches, Brown's getting touches, and it's proving to work.
Hey, Santori, I just got one thing to ask up. So when Jake, what's the old saying you have when mainly me picks the wrong game? What's your old saying when I didn't pick a game right?
You shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
Jake Browning, after the game, they shouldn't have effing cut me. What's your response to the Vikings?
To the Vikings?
You shouldn't have done that. 3
yeah,
times.
I guess.
3 times. They cut. He even said he was in a hotel room begging to be on the practice squad. They still wouldn't do it. The first thing that came to my head was Santori saying, "You shouldn't have done that." First thing that came to my head.
Well, it just proves that evaluation of quarterbacks is so damn hard.
Yeah.
You know, and when I go back and look at quarterbacks, it sounds dumb, but I do look at how they performed in high school to see if they put up big numbers. There is a strong correlation between the ESPN top 300 list every year and how many of those guys go pro. Browning was all over those lists. Browning tore it up as a true freshman and sophomore. I guess we'll transition to some Jake Browning stuff here. True sophomore at Washington. The last guy, and I know I say this kind of facetiously, but it's the truth. The last guy to get John Ross to fucking do anything.
He was Andrew Sample. I'm just kidding.
He got Drew Sample a second-round grade in the draft.
He did.
For Christ's sakes. I mean, the guy's hey, he won so many games and threw how many passing touchdowns to Drew Sample and John Ross?
Oh,
that.
Look at what he did with those guys.
Well, didn't he came 5th in voting for Heisman or something that year?
He did, yes. And now we're going to give him A.J. Green, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, Joe Mixon, and Chase Brown. And the highest paid offensive line in the NFL.
Well, Jamar Chase, not A.J. Green.
Yeah, same thing. It should not surprise anybody at all that he's having success. Should it surprise people that he's having this much success? Well, sure. But it shouldn't surprise people that a guy that threw 91 touchdowns his senior year of high school, a guy that was in the Heisman competition a couple years in a row in college, set all kinds of records in the West Coast where it's just all offense all the time, gets a shot in the NFL with loaded weapons and continues to do what he's always done. Show me a track record in his career where he's sucked. You can't find one.
No.
The only times he didn't perform well is when they didn't put him on the fucking field. Every time you've given him a chance to take a snap, boom, he's done well. There's no track record of him failing all the way back to like grade school. So it really shouldn't surprise people that a guy that's never done bad is doing well. Now, to the extent he's doing well, got some great numbers for you. I put them out there on X, Twitter, whatever we want to call it, earlier today. Since he's been asked to start, and I think that's the fair way to do it. Because I'm not going to do the whole year because that's a really weird sample size because everybody else has played 10, 12 more games than him.
Yeah, he's 4 starts.
Give it the month, okay? The 4 starts because every bye weeks are done. Everybody's played the same amount of games. Normal time, right?
Right.
Jake Browning is first in the NFL in completion percentage. And I'm not doing any weird qualifiers like, oh, only 20%. No, he is in the 80 percentile for qualifiers. We'll get past the little stank stuff here in a minute. So, of all the qualifying quarterbacks, number 1 in completion percentage. Number 1 in yards. Typically, if you're number 1 in completion percentage, it's a little bit of a dink and dunk situation. Number 2 in yards per attempt. Only to Brock Purdy. Number 3 in passer rating in the NFL. He's arguably the best quarterback over the last month in the NFL.
Should he win AFC Offensive Player of the Month, in your opinion?
Well, I mean, that's going back over into November. we'll see how the next two games go. But
Okay.
based on the last two games,
as of right now, yes,
he's halfway there.
Yeah.
I'll say that. There's not a whole lot more. But he's tearing it up. The one stat that he's dead last in, and I bring this up just so I can take a stab at somebody else. The one stat he's dead last in is average depth of target. Ugh. Okay. See, there's Bengal Dad again with freaking math. 70 plays for each touch center. 20. Stop. Okay.
Well, there was one that was a failed pass with Tanner Hudson.
So average depth of target is where Jake Browning is dead last. They're not really throwing the ball downfield, which sounds weird because half the time it looks like he's throwing a 10 or 15-yard pass to T or to Chase or the bomb to Higgins against the Colts. Like, they are still pushing the ball downfield. But here's the thing. When you throw a 15-yard out and then you throw a screen pass 4 yards behind the line of scrimmage, your average depth of target on those two plays, it's 5.5 yards now.
Yeah.
I can do that math. I can go backward and divide. But and then you throw in a couple 3-yard passes in there, and it's like, oh, he's only averaging 4 yards. It's like, well, they're throwing a lot of screens behind the line.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at balls that are actually going past the line of scrimmage, which is most of them, they are throwing downfield a little bit. It is a little bit of an outlier stat.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I wanted to take a shot at somebody with that stat. At 6.1 yards, average depth of target is where Jake Browning's at. 6.2 yards, who is the second to last in the NFL, would be Patrick Mahomes.
Which is effectively the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even want to pretend to do this math, but I think 0.1 yards is 3.6 inches. So the Patrick Mahomes is throwing the ball about that. You've heard it's a lot. That's about that much further downfield on average. But man, Jake has done so well, far and away beyond what anybody expected, especially in our position. Maybe Jake expected to play this well. Obviously, they did not have any urgency to go get a different quarterback behind Joe. And if you remember, Jake was the guy last year that they elevated a few times to make sure he couldn't get stolen.
Mm-hmm.
So they've made a conceited effort to keep this guy around, and we're like, maybe they see something. You can't tell me they saw 300 yards a game.
Probably not.
But this is probably what they were seeing.
Yeah.
So, kudos to the staff for sticking with this guy. Kudos to the quarterback coach for, Dan Pitcher for developing this kid.
Mm-hmm.
Kudos to the team for not just packing it in, because a lot of teams would have just said, F it, draft pick.
Right. A lot of fans were saying that.
Yeah. So,
and I get it.
And I was I wasn't necessarily siding with the fans that were saying it, but there were times where I was talking to Dad, like, this is why they think it.
Yeah.
Like, it's not the worst thing in the world, but.
Yeah, I had told your dad, like, you root for the win, but then at the end of the game, if you lose, then you evaluate what that does for you.
Right. He didn't care. He wants all he's heard was I'm evaluating a loss.
That's all you can do after a loss.
So, but no, kudos to Jake, man. He's the one thing that I really, really admire about him is, and we have to look at something bad first to figure out what I admire. One of the worst throws I'd seen from a Bengals quarterback all season came last week against the Vikings, when he tried to fire one down the sideline into like 8-man coverage, and the guy it hit him right in the gut, and we're like, what the hell was that?
Yeah.
I think it was Irv Smith or Tanner Hudson. One of the tight ends was right underneath.
Right.
Like, he didn't need to throw that ball.
Wasn't even close.
I'm going to say a name here, and you're going to know where I'm going with this. If that was Andy Dalton that threw that ball, he'd have thrown 2 or 3 more picks after that.
Oh, easily.
Yeah.
He'd have been rattled.
Yes.
It doesn't snowball on this kid.
No.
Right. We've seen it twice now where he's had an ugly play and come back out in the next drive, hot knife through butter.
That sack that he took real bad on fourth down on the first drive of that game. I can't remember which game it was, but he took that sack, and then the next. I mean, he played great the rest of the game.
Well, that interception he threw against the Colts, where we were up 14-0, and the game got tied.
He could have completely folded after that.
Yes, and he did.
And the Colts are a team that they have been living off of those weird plays.
Right.
The week prior, they had 2 blocked punts.
Right.
They've been winning games and catching momentum on those waves of turnovers and wacky plays, and they just put their foot in the ground and said, nope, like, you got your play, awesome, move on. We got a whole game left to play. I mean, it's grilled cheese.
Grilled cheese, absolutely it was. Hey, Santori, so I was talking to a friend of mine, and, I don't know if I agree with this statement. I respect everybody's opinion. He says till the fourth quarter and overtime, Browning played like crap. Do you agree with that statement?
He was treading water. He hadn't played great. It was about halfway through the third quarter, because it was that pick happened about halfway through the third quarter,
right,
and that caused us to go down 17-3.
Right.
And I was storming around the showroom at work going, this fucking sucks. Like, I was texting Dad. I'm like, the season ends on that crap. This is dumb.
Damn good defense he was facing too, though.
He was facing good defense for sure. But no, they grabbed himself by the freaking britches. And I think one of the first plays was he hit Tanner Hudson, and then it's just chunk. And that was T, Jamar, Boyd, Tanner, Joe. I mean, it was spreading it out. I think he completed passes to 11 different receivers in that game, which is a ridiculous number.
And he targeted 12.
Right, yeah. And the one was Drew Sample came off his hands on a screen pass in super tight congestion. I think that was more him just getting rid of it than anything.
Right.
But man, so the first 2.5 quarters, he wasn't terrible, but they were really struggling to get anything going. And then in the fourth quarter, and that's one thing I'm going to look up. I want to see his fourth quarter splits this year, because I bet they're remarkably good. Because the fourth quarter against Baltimore, that's when he had his touchdown. So his passer rating is going to look good there too.
Mm-hmm.
Jake Browning in the fourth quarter, I bet, has some tremendous numbers. I'd be willing to bet that right now without looking it up.
He did it.
To your buddy's credit, the first 2.5 quarters, I wouldn't say he was bad, but he definitely wasn't good.
Yeah, but like I say, I just thought that was getting way too hard on Jake. You know what I'm saying? Now, if this was Burrow, I can understand getting a little hard on him. But for Jake, I mean, I don't know.
I'd rather you have a mediocre first half and a tremendous second half every single game, though.
So, Santori, you want me to read your fourth quarter versus the Vikings? You want me to read it to you, or? Well,
I'm going to read his – go ahead and read the fourth quarter versus the Vikings. I'm going to read his fourth quarter overall this year.
For fourth quarter, 12 of 16, 140 yards, 2 TDs, 0 interceptions, 140.6 QB rating. Boom.
That's all right.
That's pretty good.
It's no Baker Mayfield yesterday.
No Baker Mayfield, that is true.
Yeah, I guess Baker went off. I really didn't see it, but
158.3 passer rating.
That'll do it. All right, so here are his numbers in the fourth quarter this year. 31 of 41, so 75.6%. 302 yards, 3 touchdowns, 120 passer rating. In the third quarter, he's 25 of 32, 78%, 352, 2 touchdowns, 107 passer rating. He does have 2 picks in the third quarter. He typically starts off pretty sharp. First quarter, 19 of 23, 83% with 200 yards. I mean, when you are that good in the fourth quarter, I mean, you're either putting a game away or you're taking the lead away from somebody.
Right.
The teams are gassed in the fourth quarter. It's typically it's who's healthy and who's not tired at this point in the season. If you're performing that well, you're going to win a lot of ball games, especially late.
Yeah, speaking of being tired, I I was looking at the snap counts for the defense, and
Yeah, they were out there all day.
And guys like Joseph Osai got 6 snaps.
Yeah, because he's bad.
Right. Akeem Davis Gaither had 6 snaps, and then you go up to Miles Murphy, 27 snaps. He was out there for 40% of the snaps. Trey Hendrickson was out there for only 60% of the snaps. Sam Hubbard, 79%. They're rotating these guys, trying to make sure that they're staying fresh, and it seems like it's starting to work a little bit.
And that's the one thing I want to talk about with Reeder. Reeder's down. He's out for the year. He might not ever play another snap as a Bengal. That's yet to be seen. We'll figure that out in March, right? You're going to have some heavy rotation now. So guys like Hubbard, Murphy, and Hendrickson are going to be out there more. Guys like Tupou, guys like Sample are really going to have to step it up. BJ Hill has been playing very well as of late. But what's going to happen is you're either going to have a pretty hefty rotation on a 4-man front, which I despise 4-man fronts with every fiber of my being, or they're going to have to get creative with some 5-man fronts. When they run 5-man fronts, they are the best version of their defense. It's harder to do without Reeder, but I think they've got the bodies to possibly pull that off, because I think what's going to happen is you'll probably bump Hubbard inside a little bit. I could see them flexing down Akeem Davis Gaither. They've done that a few times. Yeah. I've seen them rotate Pratt down on the edge a few times as well.
Zach Carter got a lot of run too.
Right. So, I mean, I trust if they want to run a 5-man front and bump Hubbard inside and want one of the linebackers outside, and you've got Logan Wilson there. The issue is now you're probably going to have to run some 3 safety sets, and you're starting to get banged up in the secondary, and nobody on this team wants to see Nick Scott come out there. I get it. But you're going to have a lot of play for Jordan Battle. You're going to have a lot of play for DJ Turner. You're going to see a lot of Mike Hilton. You're going to see a lot of Dax Hill floating around. They're going to have to get creative. They're not going to be able to just sit back in that base nickel that they had been for most of the year. Sometimes when you have these kind of injuries, and you hear the terms adversity a lot, and a lot of times people just throw it out there, and I can't stand it. When the core of your defense goes down on what's basically a non-contact injury, that's adversity. They're going to have to get creative, and that's kind of the same thing that happened with Joe Burrow. You're going to have to get creative. Look what happened. It's the best this offense has looked in probably a year and a half.
Right.
It's the best it's looked since the Super Bowl run. Let's be honest.
To get on Derek's point right here, so with especially with Reeder out, you think would it be Hubbard or Murphy that would kick inside more? Do you think?
Depends on the situation.
Who is so? I mean, because Murphy is quietly been working so well, and I know they've tried him inside, but has Murphy inside been working at all? And I just don't.
Murphy inside works when they do stunts. If it's just a stand-up 3 technique, that's not going to be his forte. I could see Hubbard sliding inside, pairing with Cam Sample a little bit. But Murphy, I want to make sure we give him credit because he is quietly becoming a little bit of a force out there. He's starting to flash. He's starting to pass the eye test. Someone put his pass rush win rate out there, and I'll put this into perspective. I think it was about 16% on his pass rush win rate. Carl Loftus, who is, granted, he gets abused a lot, with his snap count, he's around like 8%, and he's considered a pretty solid player. Murphy's winning his pass rush reps twice as often as
15.
that.
Was it 15.3 or something like that?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Derek just put it in the chat, 15.3. That's a very, very large number. I want to say Trey Hendrickson is somewhere around 20% for reference. So if you're 75% of Trey Hendrickson, that's a good sign.
Sign me up.
It's only going to make guys, and that's why you've seen guys like Sample kind of start to get in there, why Hubbard's starting to get in there, why Hendrickson's starting to feast the last 3 and 4 games, why BJ Hill's working. You can't just rotate on one guy.
Right.
And that is going to make it easier on third down when you want to run some unique sets. It's going to sound weird because this defense gets shredded on the ground. 1 already. 2, when Reader's out, it's awful. But in terms of the pass rush, the emergence of Miles Murphy, or what we're starting to see of it, could not have come at a better time.
Right.
Especially with losing Reader.
Why? Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to ask, I guess there's a couple guys out there. Do you think that they would try to grab one of these guys? I think there was a guy from Detroit that's on the wire.
No, you're thinking of the Tennessee guy. He just got picked up by Houston. We were just talking about him right after I brought him up. The Texans claimed him from the top.
I don't see that. I don't think so.
Tart is his name.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Sue?
No, not at all. And Bengal Suburban needs to get off of that.
Eric's brother, Dominique Davis?
Yeah, he probably will be. He's on the practice squad. We'll just call him up. That's all they're going to do. Is the Bengals have rocked this mantra of next man up forever.
Yes, they have.
I mean, when Burrow went down, they brought in McCarron, and that was kind of the last time they've really done an outside move to bring somebody in. Everybody that's on this roster was here from the start.
Mm-hmm.
They don't bring in outside noise, and they're definitely not going to bring in somebody like Sue, who has a reputation of Vontez perfect. That doesn't fit this culture.
Right.
And if it's not a culture fit, Zach's not going to do it. He doesn't care how good they are. So you can nip that one in the butt yesterday. It's not happening. If there's somebody out there that fits this culture and wants to help, and it's a surprise cut over the next week or two, maybe. But, they like Jay Tufele a lot, wherever he's at. If he's practice squad, wherever. He's going to be a guy that is getting a phone call, if not already called up. They like Josh Tupou.
Yes.
They a lot. Yes.
They like Dominique Davis. They like Sam Hubbard. They like Zach Carter. They like Cam Sample. They have enough bodies. It's a matter of how they want to utilize it. They're not going to go out and go get anybody.
So you brought up Zach Carter. I mean, we finally saw Zach Carter in the 3rd and 4th, and like Santori, James, can we agree if they would have gotten that first down, they would have won that game because they were like 4 yards away from field goal range. And shout out to Zach Taylor for calling that timeout because they had the first down right when they QB sneaked before that timeout.
It worked out. That's for sure.
Well, didn't Mullins at the 4th down, didn't he kind of bobble the ball a little bit when he was like trying to run? Didn't he kind of like I heard that was the reason he was kind of kept short because he didn't have like full control of the ball.
I'm trying to remember the replay. I don't remember.
Santori, do you remember?
Replay.
On which down?
4th and inches it was.
4th and inches.
Third inches, it was close. He fell sideways, but 4th down, we clearly got him because he kind of bobbled the ball, didn't he?
I don't know if he bobbled it, but he definitely took it and like fell sideways immediately. He did not either have proper footing or something happened because normally it's maybe a half a step back, maybe it's kind of a slide, but like his entire body rolled and you don't. Yeah, okay, I'll believe Derek because again, I was at work. I've seen the condensed version and the highlights, but I haven't really been able to dive into film. But yeah, something went wrong there. Your body doesn't go that direction on quarterback sneaks.
Yeah, because he went kind of like this.
Oh.
Yeah, he went completely sideways. He never got back to the line, and they came out to measure. And I'm like, guys, he lost a yard. I don't know what we're measuring for.
Well, I think they were measuring just to make sure, weren't they?
If it was short the first time and he went backward, what do you need to measure to make sure?
Yeah.
1 minus 1 isn't 0. Or -1 minus 1 isn't 0. 1 minus 1 is 0. See, there's that math again. I can't add. I'm kind of dumb. The ball fell down his leg. 1 minus 1 isn't 0. Clip it.
Right.
But Santori, help me out with this, man. Were you amazed yourself? I mean, people talk about the T catch. That was amazing. That Tyler Boyd, man. How the hell did he get that to Tyler Boyd in such a tight window? Tyler Boyd was jogging. He didn't even know if the ball was going to come to him or anything. He was kind of jogging, and he throws it to him and hits him right in the hands. If it is one step off, that could be picked off or just incomplete, and we punt it.
Do you want my expert analysis on that play?
Go for it.
That was, fuck it, I'm throwing it, and it happened to be in the right spot.
Right place, right time.
Yeah, that wasn't that was enough skill to get it there. he does not put that ball in that bucket 5 out of 10 times.
No.
Right.
And Boyd if Boyd doesn't get covered, he catches it all the time.
Right.
But with 2 receivers running into it, I mean, they like to show those like Amazon like probability of catch. When he lets that go, that probability had like maybe 2%.
Right.
Like that's just there's a lot of right spot, right time. There's not a whole lot of expert analysis on that beyond that was cool.
What was the probability of catch for BJ Hill getting that interception on his butt?
That is. I didn't know that was. I thought that was a fumble.
Yeah.
So I would have said less than 1% because the ball hit off his face first, and then bounced down. So I mean, it's one, you have to have a quarterback willing to make the mistake of throwing the ball from his ass, which he did multiple times in that game.
Yeah.
One was a touchdown, one was a pick.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, so it leveled out.
What about Santori? So I was the only one that recognized this. When Pratt got that interception for a touchdown, that whole crowd was cheering, and I saw that flag. I'm like, we're screwed here. Was Trey Hendrickson offsides?
No.
Is it even close? And it was just a good jump he had? Or
he had a great jump. It was a little close. I mean, his helmet may have been offsides just because of the forward lean, but he didn't start moving till the ball started moving.
Okay.
It was simultaneous. Now, in terms of maybe he was lined a little close, and then once the ball starts to move, his helmet crosses, sure. But here's the thing. If I'm the official and I'm seeing that, I'm probably calling that 10 out of 10 times. I don't have the option as an official to pause it, go back frame by frame, and make a decision. I have to call what I see. And those excellent jumps, oftentimes, I mean, how many times have we seen Myles Garrett look like he's way off sides and they slow it down? It's just,
oh my God,
it was perfect.
Yep,
it's the same thing. I don't blame the ref for calling it. I thought when I saw it on the replay, I was like, damn, yeah, he jumped. But then I saw frame by frame from Goodberry, and I'm like, nope. But you can't call games frame by frame.
Right.
Official. You just can't.
Was it a worse call than T. Higgins? I mean, T. Higgins, he was held. That should have been pass interference. He was clearly held. The guy had his arm around his back and everything. It looked like they were dancing or something.
So I've only seen the play once, and I was halfway paying attention. I have been told by everybody who watched that it should have been a flag, but consequently, everybody who has told me is also a Bengals fan. So I need to actually go back.
The announcer said.
I would need to go back and watch it again.
Okay.
I was told it should have been. But that's
he got mauled a little bit. I want to get back to Dustin's comment.
Yeah, we've had Dustin's comment up there forever.
But your dad said BJ Hill would have caught the deflected Hail Mary in the Browns game. He would.
We'll get into this in a little bit. Like I said, this might be a little bit longer of a show. I kind of want. It's not a bad thing the Browns won that game. Sorry, but we'll get into reasons why here in a minute.
Yeah.
All right, Santori, are we going under center that much? I don't think I've seen it the last 2 weeks. Hell, we went 5 wide. Okay.
I don't know the splits. That's why
I don't know the splits, but I know that when you get a team that blitzes like they do, you don't want to go 5 wide, or you don't want to go under center. You do want to spread it out. If they're going to put 7 guys at the line, I'm going to go 5 wide.
Yeah.
So you're either going to have to pull off really fast, or I'm getting rid of the ball and getting a quick completion every single time, which is what happened. The defense puts themselves in a really, really, really bad spot when they want to play like the Vikings do, and they blitz 53% of the time. Against that kind of crap, I'll call it that. You shouldn't blitz that often. You shouldn't go under center. You're going to get your quarterback killed if you think you're just going to take a 7-step drop under center and they're bringing 6.
Yeah,
it's not conducive. You're going to have a lot of batted pass, a lot of missed blocking assignments. You're going to die. It's just short and sweet. It's going to be bad. Give the guy some time. Let him find the open receiver, because they're either going to pull off and you're going to get the time anyway, and now you're just sitting there with my 5 guys finding soft spots and zones, or they're coming, and I'm going to hit my hot read, which is either going to be Boyd, Higgins, or Chase, and I'll take the odds. So if you want to, blitz and go man, go for it. If you want to pull off and just sit in zone all day and not blitz anybody, go for it. And the Vikings only run one or the other. They have one of the lowest rates of a 4-man rush in the NFL. They have one of the highest rates of a 3-man rush and one of the highest rates of 5- and 6-man rushes. It's either an all-out blitz or nothing. So I might as well go 5 wide and say quick or wait. That's why they did that.
Yeah.
And in the Colts game, the Colts don't blitz, and they were back under center in that game. The Steelers, we will see. I don't anticipate as many blitzes because they have 2 safeties out.
Right.
We've got too much crap going on in the secondary for Pittsburgh that they might be a little bit less aggressive because their back is against the wall, and they're not going to want to call a cover 1 or cover 0 blitz and have 2 backup safeties trying to cover a deep ball from Chase, or at this point, I mean, they're sending everybody deep. We've seen deep balls from just about everybody on the team.
Right.
So it's going to be what the defense wants to present. And that's what I love about Zach Taylor's offense. Even with when it was Andy, when it was Joe, and now when it's even when McCarron came in for a couple plays, and now when it's Browning, the defense is going to tell me what to do, and I'm going to do the most aggressive thing against it that I can. It's the smart way to play ball. That's why completion percentages with this team are so high. That's why interceptions are so low with this team. That's why the turnover rate's great. That's why penalties are low. They don't take uncalculated risks. They don't take unnecessary shots. They're safe and they're calculated.
Hi, Sarah.
Boo!
And
Hello.
Derek said that Pitt's going to get rocked per Sarah. So
Okay.
yeah. And Rob said the man was trying to make sexy time with T.
That is true.
So Dustin, I hope that answers your question. I know I tend to give long-winded answers, but I think explanation is key.
Yeah, it would be interesting to know what those splits were, but we'll figure that out at a later time. So we do have, we've talked about the game quite a bit, but we still got some more to talk about. Are you ready, Mr. Santori? We got game balls brought to you by Brimminghorn Meadery.
Do it better than me.
Imagine, if you will, you've decided that you want to move way east and buy a farm with a lake. And you move in and you absolutely hate the way your floor looks. And before you decide to paint the entire place black like your soul, you decide to go in with a shovel and tear up all that floor just to find out there's more floor underneath it that you got to tear up for round 2. And then you get sick. You know what you need? Brimminghorn Meadery. Use our code HOODAY9 to get 15% off shipping 2 bottles or more. They even go to Montana, I think. Brimminghorn. It's Viking sweat.
Yeah, he made me read everything last week, and I'm like, Santori, what do I say?
I did. I made him go impromptu on every single thing.
That's hilarious.
Well, like Santori, what do I say? I'm like, just buy Brimminghorn. It's good, except for Montana.
And he's like, did I get the state right? I said, yeah.
Yeah, you did.
That's good. Oh, man. By the way, Dustin says, thanks for answering. You should have a show on ESPN. So there you go.
Not anywhere there.
Game balls. So there's probably several people we could pick. Who wants to go first? Gregor?
Should we do offense and defense or just one game ball?
Just do one.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's cool. You know what? T. Higgins, because he's just been struggling this whole season. And then I'm sorry, that touchdown, because I'm telling you guys this. At first, when I look at the replay, I'm like, if he drops this ball, when he holds that ball over the line, but if that ball hits the ground out of his hands, it's either a touchback or an incomplete pass. Because I would have been like, just hold on to the ball, get down at the 1 yard line. But no, he went for that touchdown. I got to go for T. Higgins right here, man. He totally redeemed himself.
Can I complain about that play? Actually?
Go for it.
Can I be the Can I be the Debbie Downer?
No, that's fine.
Okay. If the safety who was standing on like the S of Bengals,
He was just standing there.
would have had his shit together.
Yes,
Fumble.
exactly. He
That-
just was just standing there.
That's the kind of shit that Jermaine Gresham used to do all the time.
Oh yeah,
That used to, and it always ended up in a loose ball.
Dude,
I understand the circumstance, and it's a great play, but that shit scares me. I don't like it.
No, Santori, I saw him thinking he was just standing there.
Yep. He's on film just watching like we all were.
I saw it too.
He was just staring at the play. It was weird.
I was like, dude, he's got to swing the ball all the way around. I mean, that guy could have just gone, thank you.
So if you were a defensive coordinator, would you have kind of said something to him?
Yeah.
Get your head out of your butt.
I would have started the next meeting the next day with a bunch of clips of guys like DK Metcalf after the pick chasing down Buda Baker, and Ben Watson with the Patriots chasing down what should have been that pick six.
Mm-hmm.
It just all those high-end effort. Cam Taylor-Britt a year or two ago chasing the guy all the way down and popping the ball out at the 1 yard line, even though I'm pretty sure they still recovered it. Those high-effort plays win ball games. And now I got fucking Jackwagon over here just standing there watching. Like he's one of the 64,000 in the stands.
Like, nice catch.
No, I would say, why is that guy standing there?
I don't know. He should have been running. If that was a Steeler, he'd have been running full speed and headhunting T.
Yeah.
Taking the shot.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what we're used to in this division. And then I guess in the NFC North, they just like to sit and watch. No wonder they got their asses carved up by Aaron Rodgers for 15 years. They didn't do anything.
Pretty much.
Sorry, Viking fans, if that's the effort you guys give. I mean, that stuff pisses me off. I can't stand guys just. If you're on the field, you should be moving. Like,
no, but I do agree with you. But better than that, though, is a hell of a play, though.
It's a hell of a. I don't want to take anything away from.
No,
T.
I know.
It's a remarkable play by T. Higgins.
You were right, Santori. I saw that too.
But what the hell is that going to do?
No, I saw that too. I thought I was naive or something, but
I think the wherewithal to be where he was at, keep his feet in bounds, lean backwards, and bring the ball over the goal line. That was more impressive than the catch itself.
Yes.
In my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen T catch a million jump balls.
Right.
To catch a jump ball, twisting toward the sidelines, tightrope it, and then contort backward.
That was the impressive part for me.
Yeah. That's
well, Santori, while you're mad at the Vikings safety, who's your game ball? Is it him? No.
No, I'm gonna give it to Ivan Pace for screwing up all over the place and then fight people after the game. I hated you when you were at Coleraine. I hated you when you were at UC, and now I can hate you as a Viking. And I'm pretty sure my teams always beat you on all three levels, except when you were at UC. I had to root for you, which pained me. But thanks for not wrapping up at the goal line and trying to do what you always do and take a big hit and not wrap up. And then thank you for being a punk and trying to start a fight with your helmet still on.
Yeah, really.
Your shitty play helped the Bengals win. And I appreciate the terrible attitude because I'm in a playoff race and you might not be anymore. So game ball to Ivan Pace.
There we go.
I've hated you since you were 15. I hate saying that because when you were 15, I was probably 24. And that sounds like a really, really bad vice to have. But I'll never forget the cheap shot he took on my quarterback when I was coaching. And when we were kneeling, I remember him diving over the pile and going helmet to helmet on my quarterback when I coached high school ball. And I'll never get over that.
Yeah, that's not a good look.
Yeah, no. I have had an issue with him ever since then. And it sounds really bad for me to hold a grudge against the teenager, but then he continued the same shit at UC when I was doing draft analysis, and he's continuing the same shit in the NFL. It is what it is. He's continuing his path.
Yeah.
Well, I could go Jake Browning. I'm not gonna. You took T. Higgins, Ivan Pace. That's a really good one. Thinking outside the box there. I'm going to go with Jermaine Pratt. I feel like he's playing just at a really, really high level. He led the team in tackles. He got in there on a sack. he almost had the play of the game with he actually kind of did with that interception that got called back on that Trey Hendrickson offsides, we'll call it. But I just feel like he's putting himself in good position is what it seems like. I could be wrong on that. But
he does this every year.
Mm-hmm.
It's December. His name's Playoff Pratt for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
It's that time of year. You got the Steelers coming up. He's always been a pain in the ass when he plays the Chiefs.
Yep.
He's going to be very, very, very important, especially blood drop. He's going to be very important over the next hopefully 7 to 8 weeks.
Is he kind of like Reggie Jackson, Mr. October? He's Mr. January or February or December, right?
For the Bengals, sure. I'm not going to say it for like the NFL.
Right.
There you go.
Well, next, actually, Rob. That's a pretty good one too. Mike Hilton seemed like he was all over the place.
Mike Hilton, I thought that's a good point.
Yeah, I wanted to highlight that real quick.
No, yeah, absolutely
out there. But how do we do? And I'll do this read. We've got another thing coming. We've got Sleeper Players of the Week brought to you by Script Coffee.
Read it, Dad.
When you start your story with our specialty coffee, it helps bring your story to life in a unique way. Stories connect the past and present to the future. From the coffee farmers to our roasters to you, we believe that everyone has a story to share. Script-coffee.com is where you go to get that. And I am actually out of the Tiger Joe. I'm out of this, so I'm going to have to get some more here soon. Maybe I'll order it online and get it sent here, but really good stuff. Santori, you've got the Sleeper Players, right? No, you don't have it?
I don't know.
I've
been really bad about this show for like 3 weeks.
No.
I looked up who mine was. My Sleeper Player was...
I don't remember.
Yoshi. He did have a catch for 5 yards.
He had a remarkably important fumble recovery.
Yes, he did.
That
was another one.
Did it touch? But no, we argued on Bruce. Did it touch a Bengals player or anything? Because if it didn't, wouldn't it still be just like downed or something? Or
you going to take that chance?
No, I would take that chance. That's why I'm glad he recovered it.
Yeah,
because they would have won the game.
Mm-hmm. But that was my Sleeper Player. I don't know if that
Princeton coming out in him, just being aware and going.
Right.
Absolutely.
Greg, who was yours?
So this is debatable. Tyler Boyd.
I mean, he had the catch of the game.
That's what I'm saying.
Maybe one of the catches of the game.
But that catch, though, if he doesn't make that catch, we're putting the ball. He could either been a tie or a loss after that.
Yeah, he had that was a 44-yard catch.
That sealed the game, and he still kept his feet in bounds. So I'm leaving it up to you guys. Is that a good sleeper player? Or?
Sure.
Okay, cool.
I don't remember who I picked, in all honesty.
Well, you'd have to go back to last show. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I ain't watching that.
We'll say you picked Tanner Hudson, and he was 5 for 49.
I'll take
it.
Next. So that's a win. Good job.
There you go.
We did it.
We've already done the Birmingham read, but we had bold predictions.
Again, I have no idea.
I had, and I think this was a typo on my part because it said Bengals win by 3 scores. I meant to say 3 points. No.
You said 3 scores.
I know it was a typo. I messed up.
I mean, it's 3 PATs if you want to go that route.
But that was mine. I was off a little bit on that. The important thing was we got the win. But, Greg, what was yours?
I'm just saying I have evidence written down and all that. I'm not lying. I see it right here. Bold prediction. 2 interceptions by Bengals defense.
Boom.
Who had back-to-back weeks with a BJ Hill pick on their bingo card?
Not me.
Not I. No, absolutely not. Do you remember your bold prediction, Santori? No. Okay, cool.
Just say the Bengals scored more points than the other team.
I mean, that's typically what I say.
There you go. All right.
Do we have the game picks? Nope.
No.
Okay, that works. I think I got 8 right.
Y'all weren't going to catch me anyway. We're ending it.
No, dude.
How convenient.
Yeah.
Oh, we're ending it.
Stop the count.
Stop the vote.
When you're winning.
So, by the way, for the Seahawks game tonight, Drew Lock is starting, just so y'all know.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus, Joseph and Mary. Okay. Ugh. That was one I got wrong.
Hey,
I
it's still
like
at Seattle though. They still got the 12th man.
Hold on. Crip said, I really think Saturday is going to be a Dale Sample domination.
I mean, Dale Sample scored a touchdown last time we played Pittsburgh. Let's do
Why
it
not?
again.
Dale Sample.
It's
Hey,
every time Sample catches a ball, you can ask this. If I'm at the game with Bourbon, I scream Dale and give Bourbon a high five.
Yes.
Like, Dale!
By the way, Santori, let's talk about what I compared Drew Sample. He's baking soda now.
Yeah, baking soda.
What was the reasoning for that, by the way?
Because baking soda makes the brownies all fluffy or cookies all fluffy, but you don't taste it. You don't see it or anything, but it's a big contributing factor.
Blocking. He's
Yes.
really good at that. And, okay.
You don't recognize it.
There's no stats for that. It's just
Yeah, but if you just use baking soda by itself and try to brush your teeth with it, it's just
Well, Mr. Baker here kind of helped me crush down my. But then he said I would have been better off calling it eggs or something. But I just went with baking soda.
Mr. Baker. Oh my god.
it works.
You're a better baker than I am.
I can't bake worth shit. That's Ashley.
Oh well.
I'm really I don't like to measure, and baking is all measuring. I'm just
Yeah.
like I measure with sodium in my heart. My food tends to be a little bit saltier than it needs to be, but you'll never say it's under seasoned. That's for damn sure.
Does that mean we can call you salty?
Yeah.
Salty Santori. Let's do it.
Salty Tory.
Right.
We're kids.
Well, I mean, what else do we have tonight?
I wanted to talk about why I said the Browns win really well.
Oh, yeah.
Let's hear this.
All right. So Cliff Notes version of how these three-way tiebreakers work. If there are two teams in the same division in the three-way tie, the team that has the better seeding in the division, so let's say you're in second place,
Right.
if it's a second and a third place is out and the other people are in. Okay.
Oh.
So let's say it's the Colts are in second, Houston's in third, and the Bengals are all 10-10, right? It doesn't matter who beat who. You look at Houston and Indy. If Houston's in second, then Indy's out. If Indy's in second, then Houston's out. The Bengals are automatically in that three-way tie.
Okay.
Okay. If you have a four-way tie and it's Cleveland, Cincinnati, Houston, and Indy, the Bengals are automatically out because Cleveland's ahead of them. You do not want to end up with the same record as Cleveland because they own the same tiebreaker as you in the division.
Right.
It's not a bad thing if they finish at 11-6 and you're 10-7.
Okay.
That helps you out in the long run. The more teams that you start flooding this with, especially if they're in your own division, you need to be now. If you have because here's the thing, you're not going to tie the Browns at 10-6 this year and be in second place. They own every tiebreaker. Right. It's you just can't. They own all those division records against you. So in order for you and the Browns to have the same record and make the playoffs, you have to finish a whole game above everybody else. Because then now you add, let's say it's Houston, the Browns, and the Bengals all at 10-7. The Bengals are out. Let's say it's Indy, the Browns, and the Bengals. Even though we've beat Indy, the Bengals are out because they only take one from that division on a three-way tie.
Yeah.
You really don't want the Browns to muddy that water, and you can't really catch them. So it's not the worst thing that they are a game above you right now.
Yeah.
The one that you need to really, really root against is Denver.
Okay.
Because let's say you have a three-way tie. Anybody in the NFL right now, as long as Cleveland's not in there, okay? If it's a five-way tie between the Bills, the Bengals, the Colts, the Texans, Chargers, I don't care. If it's a five-way tie, the Bengals are in all those scenarios because of how those divisions line out.
Yeah.
As soon as you throw the Broncos in that mix, the Bengals are a 10 seed.
Ugh.
And the Broncos have a really, really favorable schedule the rest of the way. The Bengals need to win 3 of their final 4, and the Broncos have to drop 1 more. Are the Broncos going to win out? Probably not. This is the NFL. Winning 3 games at the end of the year is hard.
Yep.
But if the Broncos win out, you're in trouble. You probably won't make it. They are the team that's going to throw the wrench in this whole thing. Go do some simulators. I love NFL Playoff Predictor. I mean, if you've got the Bengals at 10-7, as long as the Browns aren't 10-7 and the Broncos aren't 10-7, you're probably in. But you've got to win 3. You need Cleveland to not tie you as a record, and you need Denver to lose 1 more. You need Denver to get to 8 losses. That's the magic number. So there's a few things working here. There's a bunch of different scenarios. The Bengals have like a 40% chance to get in right now.
Yep.
But it's because Denver's right there. If Denver ends up with the same record as the Bengals are out.
Damn.
Any way you slice it.
What do you think about J-Lac's comment? Could be very important.
Here's the weird thing, and this is one Dad and I tossed out there. Remember I said we can't have the same record?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
What if the Bengals are 9-7 and the Browns are 10-6?
It wouldn't be crazy to think something like that, would it?
Well, no, that would be bad because then if we win, we're out.
Yep.
Like, you can't tie them. That's the problem.
Right.
You would almost have to have the Browns win that game and everyone else lose.
Right.
Like, there's a scenario where you winning the game against the Browns at the end of the year knocks your ass out of the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
That's how weird these 3-way tiebreakers get. I don't like the fact that I can win the last game of the year against a division rival and it knock me out of the playoffs. There is a scenario where that last game might not matter just because if you win, you're done. I don't want to be in a situation where I'm winning out. Like, that's some bullshit. But it's there. That's a situation that can happen.
Hey, Lax says, should we just forfeit?
You need to hope for a tie.
Right. Oh, no, I don't
Playing for a tie in that scenario.
I just don't want to see the Browns win the Super Bowl. Santori, I know you think I'm crazy, but the leprechaun or whatever is giving them all this luck. I don't think it's much of a coincidence. It's driving me nuts.
It hasn't
I hope I'm wrong. I want to be wrong, but Santori, the Browns, man, just had this stupid luck on their side, and it's driving me nuts. I'm sorry.
I wish we could do something about it.
Santori, I know you're probably thinking you're ready to blow up at my face, but I want you to. But it's driving me nuts.
Greg, you worry about the weirdest shit.
No, that's what my coworker tells me all the time. I bet him $20 every year the Browns go win the Super Bowl, and and that's $20 I'm willing to sacrifice.
Greg, this is how this works, okay? Because I subscribe to the Cal and Coward theory of deciding who is the better team. Okay?
Okay, go for it.
Who is the better home field advantage, Cincinnati or Cleveland?
Cincinnati.
They have one of the best in football.
Cleveland's got good home field advantage.
Cincinnati is one of the best in football, believe it or not. Who is the better quarterback right now?
Bengals.
Browning, but on a Flacco, man,
Greg, it's a one-word answer. Bengals or Browns? Who is the better quarterback?
Right now, Bengals.
Okay. All I need is 2 of the 3, and you've already given me the first 2.
Okay, look at their defense there, Santori. Their defense is bailing them out.
Greg, you need 2 of the 3.
Look at the Ravens. They had a cruddy.
Greg, you always – okay, this is where I'm going to get a little mad at you, and I'm serious on this one. You always reference the greatest defense of all time that happened one time in the history of a 120-year league. There's less than a 1% – unless the Browns pull out the greatest defense in the history of the NFL out of their ass, which, by the way, wouldn't have given up 17 points to the Bears this week. That's not happening.
All right, you're right. I'm sorry. No, Santori, thanks for dragging me back. I needed to get smacked in the face.
Dragging me back.
I needed to get smacked in the face.
The Browns have given up like 30 points several times this year, haven't they?
They've just been so lucky, though, and it's driving me nuts.
Let's see.
There's no such thing as luck in sports.
Yeah, I know.
I don't believe in luck in sports.
All right.
Create your own luck.
They gave up 38 to the Colts. They gave up 31 to the Ravens.
But all the
They
Bears
gave up
had to do
36 to the Rams, 29 to the Broncos, 28 to the Ravens. Like they're giving up some points.
all the Bears had to do was just run the damn ball to kill clock, and they kept giving it back to them.
Did you know the 2000 Ravens gave up more than 20 points just twice in that year?
Just twice.
That's crazy.
That's ridiculous.
Week 2 was when they gave up 36 and they still won. So it went 0, 36, 19, 0, 0, 10, 10, 14, 9, 7, 23, 0, 7, 3, 7, 23, 10, 3, and 7. I don't think they're the 2000 Ravens.
Yeah.
Probably not.
Yards per game, they are the best this year right now. But in terms of points, they're like 12th. There's nothing elite about that.
No, you're right.
The Ravens also didn't give up 1,000 rushing yards on the year that year.
That's ridiculous.
Through 16 games, they gave up less than 1,000 yards.
Yeah.
And how many like superstar Hall of Famers between coaches and everything were on that defense?
Oh my gosh.
All of them.
Ray Lewis, Woodson, like 5 or 6, weren't there?
And now all the other Pro Bowlers like Boulware, like
And all the Brown
McAllister, like
Yeah. Okay.
Marvin Lewis was the defensive coordinator.
Yep, he was. Tony Siragusa.
mm-hmm.
No, you're right.
Yeah, they're not the 2000 Ravens.
Okay.
Every year somebody says they're going to be the 2000 Ravens
Or 85 Bears.
Yeah.
Yeah,
One or the other, right.
I haven't seen anything remotely close to any of those defenses. Partly because those were also eras where nobody threw the ball. So if you just stonewalled the run, you were probably in great shape.
That is true.
Yep. Well, yeah, never thought I'd see a D better than the 85 Bears, but the 2000 Ravens.
It was bad. I'm going to take that over there because the Bears had Walter Payton on offense. The Ravens, if you have Trent Dilfer as your quarterback or Tony Banks, they were switching off quarterbacks. That's incredible.
Yeah. Trent Dilfer.
And McCown and McMahon, he wasn't a Hall of Fame quarterback, but he hell of a lot better than what the Ravens had.
Yeah,
I also don't believe the Ravens gave up a single 100-yard rusher that year.
Damn.
They have a streak of.
They gave up 100 as a team a couple times, just a couple. The Bengals were like doing that weekly. Like this was the opposing team's rush yards for the year. 30, 46, 106, 4, 23, 95, 101, 90, 120, 44, 62, 55, 28, 64, 51, 51, 42, 126, 24 in the AFC Championship game, and 66 in the Super Bowl against the New York Giants, who were a running team that year. Again, they have a good defense. They do not have a historically great defense to make up for the fact that they're on their 5th quarterback.
That's true.
That defense.
They also don't have their running back.
In that span, that Baltimore defense, it was 46 straight games that they had not given up a 100-yard rusher, and Corey Dillon is the one that broke it.
Oh, nice.
I'm pretty sure that we have given up 43 straight games of 100 yards on the ground.
I believe that.
Not a rusher. I mean, as a team.
Yeah.
I thought there was one game we gave up like 53 a few games ago.
Maybe, but we've been getting destroyed.
Like we've been getting crushed this year. Yes, 100% on the.
Yeah. All right. That's my roommate from college. The 2013 Seahawks are unbelievable. Yeah, the Legion of Boom was really good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's another solid one for sure.
God, Joe and I got in so much trouble that year. So we just did a bunch of it wasn't like legal trouble or anything. We were just idiots in college. Like I didn't know that I was getting a student refund because I didn't know how any of that worked. I just thought that my parents, because it was on like a school debit card, right?
Yeah.
I just thought my parents gave me like $100 as a, here's whatever for college. And I was like, all right, cool. So I went to GameStop and bought another controller and Madden. And then Joe and I just played Madden all the time. And then my parents called and they're like, hey, where's that $100 we're supposed to get back? And I was like, in my Xbox.
Uh-oh.
Joe's also a bottomless pit. I've got a couple Joe stories before we get off of here. There was one time my mother sent me back to college with like 30 boxes of Cracker Jacks or something stupid. I guess they had won something or they bought them at Costco. I don't know. They were just the little boxes of Cracker Jacks, right?
Sure.
And Ashley and I were going out to dinner, and Joe was like, do you care if I have some Cracker Jacks? I'm like, dude, I don't like Cracker Jacks. I won't eat those at all. Tear it up. And he was like, all right, cool. Went to like see a movie, get McDonald's, came back.
For like 3 hours, maybe.
Yeah.
All the boxes were gone.
Damn.
30
I
boxes.
shit you not. 30 boxes of Cracker Jacks were gone.
Jesus.
It's not an exaggeration. Then we another time to the same effect. We bought a there's like 20. They're like a gallon and a half drums of like cheese balls for like $6 at Target, or they used to be $6, probably 20 now. They're like a couple gallons worth of cheese balls, right?
Right.
Again, we're going out to dinner, and he was like, do you care if I have some cheese balls? And I was like, dude, tear it up. I don't care. Like, just save me like a handful, right? We had like maybe like this much of that like tub of cheese balls, like probably still 95% of it left. It was gone when we came back. The entire thing. I was like, Jesus Christ, Joe, where'd all the cheese balls go? He's like, I was hungry. And I'm like, no, well, I mean, not in my room, but here's the deal. So Ashley basically lived with us in that dorm. Joe could eat anything. He was a garbage disposal. Here's the other thing that I'll never forget. Joe had never had Nutella. I had never had Nutella. I thought, I'm going to buy a little jar of Nutella. They're like $4, whatever. Don't look at the comments or you're going to get the story ruined. So we heat it up in the microwave a little bit because that Nutella stuff's thick when you first get it. And I dip a spoon in it and I'm just like, oh, yeah, it's kind of like chocolate. If you've never had it, hazelnut tastes very much like chocolate, right? It's not peanut buttery. It's very like a rich chocolate. And I was like, oh, cool. And all we had was like bread because we were poor as shit in college.
Right.
So I'm like spreading Nutella on like Wonder Bread, and Ashley had a bite. She's like, yeah, this is good. I was like, this is good. Joe's like, wow, this is great. Ashley and I go out. We come back. I look in the Nutella jar because I wanted a little spoon of it. I said, hey, Joe, did you have any Nutella? He's sitting on the top bunk. And he said, no. I said, you sure? And he said, I think I would know if I had Nutella, Ty. And I said, well, why is there a Dorito in here? Because I didn't do that shit. And I looked back up and he said, don't knock until you try it. And I said, okay. So Joe's dipping the Doritos in the Nutella. Yeah. Okay. I dipped Oreos in it. I thought I was great things.
That's sweet and sweet. Like,
right. Joe is dipping nacho cheese Doritos in the Nutella. Well, I've got so many Joe stories.
That makes my stomach turn.
Here's a football Joe story, and this is a good one. Our viewers have dropped off by about 50% already, so it's about time to wrap this up. We've gone from 25 to 13 since I started talking about Joe. They love him. So we're sitting there. This is the I think it's the 2013 draft. It's freshman year. So this is April of 2013, right? And I'm sitting, I had the bottom bunk, Joe had the top, and it's me and Ashley sitting on the bottom bunk. We had a 19-inch rear projection Magnavox TV. Piece of junk TV that half the time really didn't work, right? We're watching the NFL draft. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? How are we going to do this? And he's like, all right, Ty, who are we going to take? And I was like, what are you going to do if we take that tight end out of Notre Dame? It was Eifert. And he goes, man, I hope not. And then the commissioner comes up, Tyler Eifert. Joe punched a hole in the ceiling from the top. He was so mad. I'm sitting there laughing because I kind of liked Eifert. I had scouted him a little bit, and I was like, I think this kid's going to be okay.
Yeah.
And Ashley had liked him, and I'm sitting there just crying, laughing, and Joe's just punching the ceiling. He was so mad. I found the one West Virginia fan, or the one West Virginian WVU and Bengal fan out in that area, I swear, because we got ridiculed for wearing our Bengals. I mean, you're in Pittsburgh territory out there,
right?
So we were sitting ducks. But yes, as Joe says, or Ashley says, gotta keep in mind we were 18, so we were little children. But I will never forget what we had that year for the Super Bowl, because that was the year the lights went out. That was my freshman year as well. It was me, my friend Joe, Ashley, a girl named Zeta, who I need to talk to more. Katie. There's a few of us. There was like 5 or 6 of us. Again, about as poor as I've ever been. And we're like, what are we going to do? Like, we need a bunch of food. You know the way I am. I'm like, I need to cook, and I have a mini fridge and $8. Like, what?
Right.
I can't do anything right now. Nope. So all of us threw all of the cash that we had together in a pot, and they had just released the $4.99 special for 20 McNuggets at McDonald's. And we bought 100 chicken McNuggets and asked for as many sauces as they could genuinely give us. And we had this little table with this pile of 100 McDonald's chicken nuggets on it.
And Joe ate 88 of them.
Joe ate almost all of them.
Damn.
Oh my God. But no, I hope Joe's doing well. But yeah, no, Tyler's from the same area. I can vouch for that. It's a Steeler area. But no, Joe's a good dude. He won't ever say anything to you if you run into him in public. He's very quiet. I do have an athletic story to make fun of him for. And then we'll jump off here. So, as you know, Greg, I'm moderately competitive when I bowl, and I'm not really happy if I don't bowl well.
Buddy, dude, James, if he gets a 299, he probably would criticize himself all night.
I did. I got a 230 yesterday. I felt good about that.
Oh, nice. There you go.
Kind of a weak 230. It was a no-tap tournament, which means
there's no weak 230.
No, there is. A no-tap tournament's 9 pins counts as a strike, and I had 2 or 3 no-tap strikes in there. So it probably was about a 190 to 200, which I'm still happy about that. Anytime I break 190, I'll feel okay.
Very good.
But they had a special when we went to Marshall at a small bowling alley called Colonial Lanes. And if you were a Marshall student, you showed your ID, and it was $1 to bowl.
Right.
$1 a game. And I was like, sweet. I got my bowling ball. I got my bowling shoes. I got $10. I could be here for a few hours. Like, this is awesome. I love this. Joe and I are bowling. It's the first time I've actually tried bowling since my grandfather passed, and I did a lot of the bowling for him. So I was having a hard time kind of compartmentalizing that tournament that we were in at Marshall, and I was kind of pulling the ball. My spares weren't hitting right. My hand wasn't completely healed yet because I broke these 2 fingers bowling the year prior. And I was just getting really upset. I remember I was wearing a purple Yoshi shirt. I don't know why, but I was.
Foreshadowing.
Yeah, no, that's just what it was. I just remember that detail. And I decided I was going to try and bowl one left-handed because I was like, I'm just so mad. So I threw a couple house balls left-handed, and I'm like, this is bullshit. I'm so mad about this. And Joe went up, and he was squeezing the ball too hard. And he was getting rid of the ball way too low in his release. His hand was still in the ball when the ball was hitting the ground. And I was like, Joe, you're going to really, really hurt yourself. And he goes, Ty, I think I know how to do this. And I was like, I've heard that before. And I said, well, I'm going to tell you one time. If you release the ball and your hand is still in the ball when it hits the ground, you are going to break something. And he goes, Ty, I played safety in high school. I think I know what I'm doing. He was scouted by, I think Bowden actually scouted him, Florida State. So Joe was actually a decent athlete before he blew out both of his knees. Ha, Joe. The next ball, he did not get his hand out in time, smacked the ball on the ground, and shattered his middle finger. And he looked at it. It was like crooked, like Anthony Munoz.
Oh,
And I was like, you dumbass. He's like, yep, that's broke. And he looked at it and he looked at me. And Ashley's like, oh my God. And I'm like, we're fine. And he's like, yeah, we're going to be okay. And she's like, we need to go to the hospital. And I was like, not yet. She's like, what do you mean not yet? His finger's like off. And Joe's like, I'm finishing the game. So he bowled left-handed, finished the game. Then we go to the hospital. Ashley did not want to go into the hospital with us. She had a test the next day. I was like, Ash, we're going to be in the hospital. Just ask for a note. I was the king of getting notes at hospitals for stupid shit to get out of tests. I hated school. And she's like, no, I'm not doing that. I said, all right, well, I'm going to be in the emergency room at St. Mary's with Joe until like 2 a.m. trying to get this finger splinted.
Right.
She sat in the car, waited for us. Hold on. What?
I was at that hospital.
Yeah, you did. You went and decided to not get a note. Anywho, she went and decided to not get a note. Joe and I got notes. Joe and I slept in the next day, and she went and took a test.
And you know what? I got it over with.
And did you pass?
We got B's together.
We got B's together, I guess. So those are some Joe stories. Joe's a good guy. I don't get to see him as much anymore. He is actually a professional lumberjack. Works for a company that is in charge of tearing down trees and shit hanging on the highways, and gets sent to different states to go clean up messes for trees. And I'm like, this man, I've literally watched him fall off the bunk bed and break his hand in a bowling ball, and you gave him a chainsaw. Maybe we need to rethink this decision. And I'll say this: Joe typically wasn't wrong with scouting. He's got a good eye. I didn't see many that he would miss on. Truly, I'm trying to think back because we scouted for probably 3 or 4 years together. I learned how to watch tape after we stopped hanging out after college and when I started coaching. But for those couple years where we really didn't know what we were doing, I'll say this: he didn't miss. Yeah, he got most of them right. He's
nice.
He's a Florida State fan in West Virginia who likes the Bengals. I don't really know what happened.
Bet he's not in a good mood right now as a Florida State fan. I can't blame him.
Nah, he's probably not. I'm going to try and get him up to a game here in the next year or two.
Nice.
I've taken him to like 3 games, and they've all been Ravens games, so I think he's probably tired of going to Ravens games at this point. But he definitely hasn't seen anything with the tailgate, so
we got to get him up here.
Yeah, he's going to eat all our food. Is he in Huntington? I don't know exactly what part he's in. I think he's more toward Charleston now. I don't remember exactly what part he's in, but we went to Marshall together. I mean, at one point he lived. He's not there anymore, but at one point he lived kind of close to like Hamlin down Route 7, Route 3. I know that doesn't mean anything to you guys, but it's like south of Huntington. Charleston's more east of Huntington and a little bit north. But I think at one point he was out near Corridor G, Tyler. So if you ever see a very blonde man with a bushy beard wearing Bengal stuff, out Route 10. So there's who's T. Brookie? Is this somebody else, or is this Joe from another account? What's this? Anyhow, I've got the West Virginians watching. We've figured this out. I've got the whole state. See, I'm from Huntington. We got Corridor G. I got the whole Tudor's Biscuit World clan here.
Oh my god,
love it! Yes, take me home, country roads.
Right.
There you go.
All right. Well, T. Brookie, I appreciate it. I don't think I've seen you in here before.
He's been in here before.
Okay. Well, I'm just not paying attention then. But I love my West Virginia people. I really, really do. I say it all the time, but I was just up there a couple weeks ago, and I'll be there Sunday morning. So I probably go. We try to go once a month. I love it up there. So, but that's way off topic for the last half hour. But I wanted to give Joe a shout out. He's
Awesome.
one of my best friends I never get to see.
Yep.
We hope to see you next year, Joe, at the tailgate, buddy.
Ran track at Marshall in the 70s. All right.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Awesome. Well, I appreciate that.
For sure.
Love some good heritage there.
Absolutely.
Seriously.
Well, we'll have a show on Wednesday at 7, previewing this Saturday game again against the Steelers. This is in Pittsburgh this time.
They're gonna lose, by the way.
Who, Steelers?
Yeah.
All right then.
That's not me being like a confident. Oh, they're gonna lose. That's where that one's at.
Right.
All right.
I like it. Well, we will preview that on Wednesday. We'll also maybe we'll talk about a surprise tailgate thing on Wednesday. We'll see. We'll see what kind of time we got. But my wife and kids got home today after not being here yesterday, so I'm going to go in there and hang out with them for a little bit before they go to bed.
All right, Joe. Tell Joe's. You'll love this. Joe's lady friend is also named Ashley. Joe, tell Ashley you need to go to at least one game with us next year. We got. I'll send you some info on this tailgate. It's a good time, and
Oh, for sure.
Hit up Tyler Bowles on Twitter or Facebook. He's good people.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
He's one of the better ones.
Yep.
But for Santori Miles, Big Savage Greg. I'm Cincy James.
I'm Cincy James.
Yeah. I'm Ron Burgundy. I'm Cincy James. And we will see you guys on Wednesday. Who day?
Who day?
Ah!
And right into the stretch. Looking back and throws up the middle.